The Haggadah goes on to tell us what the Bible said. The Egyptians mistreated us, oppressed us, and imposed back-breaking labor on us. That's an Egyptian with a whip hitting an ancient Israelite. We had to build tremendous pyramids, temples, and statues for the Egyptians. Then we cried out to the Lord our God, the Lord of our ancestors. The Lord heard our cry and saw how we were being oppressed, how we were being subjugated, and how we were being crushed. Picture of people screaming from the pain that they were going through. The Lord rescued us from Egypt with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, with awesome terror, with marvels, and with flashes of power. And then there were the plagues. Plagues are terrible things. We're going through a plague right now. We have to stay home. We can't go out and be with each other at the Seder. And we should always remember how bad plagues are. I think the reason why the plagues are mentioned in the Bible is to remind us how horrible it could be to be inside of a plague. There were terrible things that occurred, and the Egyptians suffered. Some of them were innocent, but when a plague comes, it doesn't discriminate between those who are good and those who are bad. Plagues are terrible things. There was blood that killed all the fish in the rivers. The water turned to blood, and all the fish died. Then there were frogs who appeared everywhere. Frogs on the plates. Some people say they weren't frogs at all, but they were alligators. After the frogs came lice. After the lice came wild animals. And after the wild animals, some of the animals died from diseases. People had boils on their skin. There was hail that came from the sky, and when hail falls on you, it hurts. There was locust that killed all the vegetables and food, and there was famine in the land. There was darkness. People couldn't see anything. Everything was dark. And finally there was a sickness, and the sickness killed people. And for some reason the sickness killed the firstborn of every family. But it was a sickness the way it is today. So we have to remember, plagues are horrible things. We're sorry that the Egyptians went through these plagues. But plagues happen. They've happened many times, and they are horrible things to go through. And we don't rejoice about the Egyptians having gone through the plagues, because when next we take up the cup, we take out drops of wine from the cup, so as not to rejoice about people suffering through a plague.